I've been working on a curriculum with the co-teacher Joe Franzen that puts food together with an English class, and we teach a class called Food Lit at Fern Creek Traditional High School in Louisville. And we're very excited about that, but that is definitely something that has come from Bread Loaf. It's definitely a program that has come from classes here and come from ideas of literacy that are happening here at Bread Loaf.
I see this as bigger than Bread Loaf. I see this as Bread Loaf Middlebury. I see the value of going from K through 12 through college, through graduate school, into scholarship.
We tried to figure out how can we make this a core content class where we could get kids engaging with food, engaging with knowledge, engaging with literacy, and to put them in a position to be able to change the world around them.
They wanted to connect the community with sustainability efforts and have a focus on food and literacy.
And Dr. Barber, you know, he brought us on for a reason, so he said, yeah, go ahead. And we got one period to try this out.
One of the first things that Joe told me, and it was true, he said, you know, we are going to change the face of how Fern Creek operates as a school and propel the school into proficiency status, and we will be a part of that work.
Test scores came back from that year, and we knocked it out of the park. So they gave us 2 classes the next year. The following year, we ended up having four full year sessions of pre-AP sophomore Food Lit.
And our regular comprehensive English course through food literacy was outperforming our AP students. And that just showed that these gentlemen, Brent, Joe, Tyler, and Paul, began to change the face of how Fern Creek operated, and lo and behold, our results started going up, and eventually, as most saw, we became a proficient school.
They're very insistent, they're very earnest, but they're also very good. So when they wanted to do a Food Lit course, I think we were all thinking like it probably won't go too poorly because they're good at what they do. And what it has become, I think, is just a testament to their commitment to it, to the students' engagement with it, to the way they invest, the community and parents in their efforts. It really has become a program rather than just a class.
We have a cooking club, we have an environmental club, we have a garden club that runs the 30 raised beds, the 100 bourbon barrels, the 35 fruit tree orchard, and the 40 chicken operation that we have out there.
I was a student in Dixie Goswami's Emerging New Literacies class at Bread Loaf, Vermont in 2009, and that was an early catalyst for me to move me towards thinking about new ways to read and write in school. And that led me to an opportunity to come to Fern Creek High School, and Dr. Houston Barber allowed me to design a digital storytelling course. One of the nice things about teaching the digital literacy skills and digital storytelling skills is that it's interdisciplinary in nature, and that if you're telling a story, it can be about anything. It could be about any content area, science, social studies. And having a prior relationship with Mr. Peters and Mr. Franzen really opened up possibilities for to leverage the technology and the digital storytelling in ways that could complement the work in food literacy.
The Vice President of the Navajo Nation was here visiting, Vice President Rexley Jim. And I had an opportunity to present out to Vice President about the work that a co-teacher and I are doing with Food Lit, our Food Lit class.
And then afterwards, we met for about 5 minutes and decided to do an exchange, especially after I heard what he was doing at Fern Creek Traditional High School. And although we simply started talking about food literacy and recipes, it soon turned out to be that it's not really about food. It's about the relationships that food creates. It's that active interaction between family members, community members, and how they use food that contributes so much to the well-being of our people.
And through the Bread Loaf Teacher Network, we found a way to make this workshop called the Garden of the Home God happen. And it was a food and digital literacy workshop that for 4 days on the Navajo Nation in February, and then all the participants from the Navajo Nation came to Louisville in April, and we continued the workshop in Louisville. So we had a chance to look at food-related issues in communities on the Navajo Nation and also in Louisville, and students became researchers and put their research together in these digital projects, and they were very powerful. And we had, basically our group decided to have an online identity. They called themselves the Navajo Kentuckians, and so they created a digital space so that all these lessons and all these digital products could be shared back to the community.
My presentation is A New Direction for the Youth by the Navajo Kentuckians. This picture is not just of the Monmouth Valley and the Navajo Nation. It is also something we value as a Diné, as a Navajo people. It represents the Father Sky, the Mother Earth, and within those is the beauty and harmony that's within us, above us, below us, and around us.
Attitude and where you come from really affects how you get along with people, because if people don't understand your differences, it creates an obstacle, and you just have to jump over it. And what happens when you do jump over it? You create the Navajo Kentuckians. Thank you.
We're rich in the heritage and the language and what we have as Diné people. And we're rich in our youth, as you saw. And I'm glad that they're thinking about ways that they can be leaders to take our place and shape those policies, make those changes that need to happen.
I think one of the wonderful things about the Navajo Kentuckians and their pursuit of foodways is that it is very broad. And they aren't doing this by sharing their personal stories, but by collecting the stories of others. And I think that what they're showing us is that we have a great deal that distinguishes each of us, but we have an awful lot in common. They are digitally equipped in multiple ways. They've got different kinds of literacies, all coming out of this one experience. The kinds of skills these students now have to make their voices heard in the world are diverse. And you could feel how empowered the students were. They know what they're on to. This program honors how each student learns. No two of them is the same, and no two of them expresses themselves in exactly the same way. So a young woman who cares deeply about photography tells her story with photographs. A young man who illustrates tells his story with illustrations. Two people told their stories with poems. And I think that that is one of the ways that an interdisciplinary approach to education makes it clear that we all have something to contribute, but we don't all have to do it in exactly the same way.
The Breadloaf Teacher Network is a part of the Breadloaf School of English. It's a year-round professional development network facilitated by technology that includes Breadloaf teachers, their colleagues, and their students. Increasingly, it includes members of the communities where they teach. It's a program that's grounded in summer experiences at the Breadloaf campuses and continues online year-round.
In the classes doing presentations for us about the projects that they've been working on. We've built this network of teachers who support each other, who help each other in their work. We do exchanges with each other, we visit each other, because we've all learned that doing our jobs in isolation is just too hard. We need a network of other people. We need to be connected to a graduate school. We need to be connected with other professionals. We need support. We need professional development. And the Breadloaf Teacher Network allows us to work closely with other teachers from other locations with other kinds of expertise over an extended period of time to support our work and help us share best practices.
And it's the story that involves two elements that you will see. One of them...
There's kind of two curriculum I find here. One of them is outside the classroom, when I speak to these teachers and I find out what they do. And I go back to Kenya and I'm able to connect my students with their students, my expertise with their expertise, and we have this collaborative activity going on via the Breadloaf Teacher Network. That's been amazing to me.
As the digital possibilities become much more apparent and powerful, we are banking on the collective involvement of large numbers of children in improving their own education in communities.
We have copies of Salt, Sugar, Fats, and this is our next text, as you know. It seems like there were not total chapter divisions.
We're excited that there is a food lit program at Window Rock High School on the Navajo Nation, and I think that there is great potential to continue this relationship. So we're excited to see the Navajo Kentuckians flourish.
Food lit, to me, a Navajo teacher on the Navajo Nation means trying to incorporate, number one, good reading, good sources that will build knowledge, a broad knowledge base, not only for the current moment, but maybe more lasting, because some of the habits that we have at this age determine the habits and health state we'll have in our 20s and so forth. When I think of food lit, it means good reading, discussion of reading, being able to write about your reading, but also internalizing what you're reading. And that's a little bit harder to do. One of the things I noticed about students who read nonfiction is their reading levels increase. That's because the level of reading that they do is, or the type of reading they do in there, are usually cause effect, process, classification, comparisons, contrast, you know, all the higher level type of thinking.
We started off with studying food recipes, but we ended up studying relationships in all different areas. And they started doing research on food policy from the international level. They talk about food economy. They went through the process. They worked with the people. They interviewed them. They went through before school boards, the mayor, vice president of Navajo Nation, to advocate for healthier foods, access to healthier foods. And they've presented their findings at conferences, the National Council of Teachers of English, the National Indian Health Board Public Health Summit, and other areas.
And we put together digital pieces that looked at social justice, that looked at income inequality, that looked at food deserts, that looked at obesity and diabetes.
To have high school students to advocate for a healthier lifestyle in front of professionals, of doctors and professors and policymakers and political leaders. There's tremendous power there. Young people asking for change, backed up by evidence, by research, by quality writing, painting a picture of the future where we're healthier and stronger and better people.
And just let me know what you all would like to do, and then let's get you started. How about that? Does that sound good? Yeah. Let's get you going. Okay, so just let me know, and if you want to start with the wheelbarrows, go ahead and wheel them over there. You guys want to plant, harvest? Harvest. You guys are going to need some rubber bands too. We do a lot of work in our classroom, but also we change where the classroom is. Earlier this week, we were out in the garden. We made a to-do list, a work list, and students have claimed beds, and they have planted things earlier in the trimester, and we were out harvesting this week. We were also out planting for the spring.
Arugula, we're harvesting that, and then you have to cut it off and then put a rubber band around it.
Put these like in the better.
And then what we're gonna do is take one of these bulbs here. This is the root, so that goes down. This is the shoot. That's where the plant's gonna come down. So we're gonna drop it in here. Through food studies and food lit, we're able to talk about engagement, but we're also able to talk about empowerment. And so what our cooking club is doing today is we're cooking appetizers for the audience today, for the play at our high school, War of the Worlds. Our young people are creating recipes that will be served before the play for the audience. Through Cooking Club, we've been able to see empowerment in students. They're taking these things on, they've done the research of the recipes. Through Navajo Kentuckians, we went to places on the map, and we went to the Navajo Nation. Navajo students came to Kentucky, and we used the Navajo Nation as a classroom and Kentucky as a classroom. But also we went to places that were not on the map, places inside of us, places of depth and connection, places in the heart. We found voice, and I think students, something that came from that was an emergence of voice and connection and desire to be involved in communities.
You call them chronic illnesses, diabetes, cancer, poverty, lack of resources, all this negative stuff. But we're going to empower you to change that, to become agents of change. It is through your energy. We have all these health disparities on Navajo, and one of the main causes for that is not eating well. We decided to partner with COPE, Partners in Health, INCHO, REACH, and Bread Loaf in Vermont. But we also wanted young people to get involved. We want students to become food literate. We want them to understand the role that healthy, quality food has in the lives of people. And we want to make sure that if you don't have that, then what happens? And what else can be done? Just this past weekend, 16 of them came together and did a retreat and talked about all these issues.
Hello, my name's Taylor Obasta. I'm a sophomore at Windrock High School. And my presentation's about the mindset, growth and fixed, and both their effects on eating habits. And I also realized that we could link our cultural roots with how Navajos used to eat and how they
COPE stands for Community Outreach and Patient Empowerment. It's a nonprofit based in Gallup, New Mexico, and partners very closely with Navajo Nation. The work that we do focuses on two areas. One is working with community health workers, and here the program's called Navajo Community Health Representative Program. The second area that we've been working on has been around food access. Navajo Nation is classified as a food desert by the USDA, and so we felt that in order to really help families make changes, one of the pieces is to be in the homes, to provide that support and the education through the community health workers, but you still have to address some of the bigger social determinants of health. And a key one for us has been bringing greater access to healthy foods in Navajo Nation. So based on those two areas, I think our work has evolved over time, and this most recent project called Reach for Healthy Navajo Communities incorporates both of those aspects and also pulls in Navajo high school students as advocates, as change agents, and also to learn from them so that we can actually better reach the community.
So we received a grant from the Center for Disease Control titled, for short, it's called the REACH grant. And so REACH stands for Racial and Ethnic Approaches to Community Health. COPE was able to develop a really awesome coalition of both local partners and national partners. And so that's the goal of REACH, to increase access to healthy foods in local Navajo stores. And then secondly, to strengthen clinic-community linkages to increase access to chronic disease prevention for young families. NCHO is going to be under the REACH grant. It stands for Navajo Community Health Outreach, and it's going to be a youth leadership program.
We have CHRs out there, community health representatives educating our Navajos. You're the youth version of that. Your job is not only to educate yourselves to become healthy, but also to inform others. As young people, you have so much to offer. We're part of the Bread Loaf Teacher Network and the Bread Loaf School of English. And there we firmly believe that students, young people, are the most underused resource. We want you to change the world, your world.
Yat Eshe Cassidy Morgan Yanishia, Tora Chitney Nishle, Nanastasia Tachitni Bashichin, Kiani Dashache, the Bethlejina Dashanella. Hello, my name is Cassidy Morgan, and I'm here to present to you today about how food literature affected the way I cook for my family at home.
Hello, my name is Ashley Lansing. I am in Miss Bagody's Food Lit. My topic for this PowerPoint is how you can have healthy food for low cost.
Hello, I'm Bronson Gould, and I'll be talking about the dollar menu and is the cheap food worth it.
Hello everyone, my name is Tiffany Silas, and my presentation will be on vegetarianism. And I'm in Miss Bagody's food literacy class. What is a vegetarian?
Hello everyone, I'm Elvana Yazi, and my presentation is on butchering.
Hello, my name is Jay Goodwill, and I will be presenting on grass-fed beef.
I started out with writing workshops with Bread Loaf, and I wanted to develop my writing skills, and it led to many other amazing organizations like Partners in Health and COPE. We started to partner with them, and I learned how to present, so I found my way here through writing.
Tai Fierce Matiba Yanishya, Tkachitni Nishle, Tkodachitni Bashichin, Ashin Hadashache, Honaratni Dashanale. Hello, I'm Ty Fierce. I'm a junior at Windrock High and a student of Miss Bagody's food literacy.
This weekend, I believe, is a stepping stone. I want to be able to further or increase the health of the Navajo Nation. We have plans already that I want to begin. This is just the retreat, and it's basically a little session where we get to know each other and see who our new family will become.
I really believe that this weekend will result in some strong partnerships, but also that will connect not only the people who are passionate about it and our adults or elders, but the youth to become invested in their community and in their culture.
Solution, healthier diet and like
healthier diet at a young age.
Yeah, like smiling.
Do the bad and good.
Yeah, okay, then this one he's eating
Draw
what?
an apple.
An apple?
Apple.
And then the message is eating healthier, start awareness at a young age.
Okay.
To avoid diabetes.
Okay. Okay, good job, good too.
We list some environmental issues on the Napa Reservation, like obesity, natural resources such as uranium mining in Crown Point and Chachi, droughts.
What COPE really wanted to achieve this weekend was to actually bring in high school students so that they felt like they really were part of this team and that they actually do have a voice and that they are going to be leaders within this project.
The information they shared, the connections they made, and a lot of the growth work that they did in 2 days just shows me that they have learned so much about our Navajo world, and now they're walking out enlightened. They have an awareness at another level.
What Rexley Jim, Vice President Jim, would say is that these students are making history. They are engaging with their communities through literacy, through digital literacy, in a networked environment. And that's the piece that brings us in as Breadloaf Teacher Network, that we are supporting teachers in energizing, engaging their students to make real difference here in their own context.
How do we get the students of Breadloaf Teacher Network teachers engaged in ways that also help us back in the Breadloaf School of English community in the ways that we are teaching and we are thinking? How could we apply that model that evolves out of BLT and teachers to the kind of training that we are producing at the graduate level that could help us expand what we do and how we do it?
When teachers have support and they're well trained, what they can do to improve the education of students they're working with is simply enormous.
We are in a position today through technology to help one another. The time for isolation, working in silos, saying this is my territory, it's done and over with. We need to accept it and move on. We need to embrace technology. We need to embrace the willingness of young people to work with others and their willingness to help others.